Hey there. Good morning. Today, I want to talk about something that we don't always talk about when we are referring to play therapy themes. And that is the connection between play therapy themes and understanding your play therapy themes, which are what your clients are communicating to you, and case conceptualization. So, if you're a play therapist, then you have probably talked about play therapy themes. You have probably tried to figure out what play therapy themes are in your client sessions. You might even be overwhelmed trying to figure out what play therapy themes your clients are demonstrating in their play therapy session. Little bonus tip: identifying play therapy themes is really helpful when you're writing your progress notes, but really feeling confident identifying them is usually part of the challenge that play therapists experience. And I would say this is true whether you're a new play therapist, whether you've only been doing it for a couple of years, few years, or whether you're seasoned. Recognizing themes in your client's play therapy session is something that we all do, and sometimes we're not always sure. So, this is something that I think to me is always a really relevant topic for all of us to keep us grounded in this projective play therapy modality, figuring out what's going on in our client's session and making sure that we're in the ballpark, so to speak, of what is going on. And to me, this is where your case conceptualization can be really helpful. And that's what I want to talk about today. So let's get started. If you are watching on the live stream right now, I would love to know who's here. Post your name in the comments, where you're from, what population you are working with, where are you working, what are your experiences with identifying play therapy themes, questions you might have. The only thing that I would say with your questions and your sharing is just please make sure that we maintain client privacy because this is a public forum. So just keep your questions and comments general, and that would be great. Anyways, so I'm Kathy Spooner. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a registered play therapist supervisor here in the United States. And I've been in the mental health field for over 30 years now. My specialty has always been working with children, adolescents, and families. And I pretty much use play therapy exclusively, definitely when I'm working with children, adolescents, and families. And sometimes I can get my adult my adult clients to do some play therapy, or you can see all my Santray miniatures behind me. I'm usually getting them in the sandbox to work on some things. So we have Katerina from the Ukraine. Welcome. Using Santray therapy. That's awesome. EMD work with war trauma. That is so awesome. Welcome. That's exciting to see. It's always exciting to me to connect with others around the world who are using play therapy to see what you guys are doing. I think creating this global play therapy community is really amazing. We have Regina from Argentina, work with children and their families. Awesome. My Therapy Stone. Oh, My Therapy Stone. I have seen your stones. They're so beautiful. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome. All righty. So let's get started. So first, what are play therapy themes? So I've talked about this in previous live stream episodes. If you're interested in seeing more of those replays, then if you're on Instagram, you could probably find them in my grid. However, last week I had a guest and I wasn't able to use my streaming platform to stream into Instagram. So I had a guest, Jody Mullen. It was amazing. We had this great conversation. So probably the easiest place to find all of my live stream episodes is and watch all the replays is over on my YouTube channel, Kathy Spooner, Renewing Hearts Training. Just click on the live tab and you will see all of my live streams. I go live every week at 7 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays and talk about all things play therapy and expressive arts. So there's a lot of replays on my YouTube channel. And my conversation with Jody Mullen about play therapy themes is on there. So you may want to watch that one, plus some of my other ones. I've also talked about case conceptualization as well. So if you're interested in that topic, there are more live stream replays on my YouTube channel on that category. Today, what I wanted to focus on is connecting these two things because I think they're both really important topics, especially in the mental health field, working with children, adolescents, and families. I think this is something that we don't necessarily talk about very much in the play therapy community, and I would probably say in the mental health community overall, to be honest. And I think it's a really important topic. And if you're interested in really going into a deep dive on the case conceptualization topic and treatment planning, I do have some online courses. I'll talk a little bit about those at the end. In my online courses, I take a really deep dive, walk you step by step through that process that leads into the treatment planning. And so I have a course on treatment planning as well that walks you step by step about writing treatment plans, writing really good, solid treatment plans that will meet requirements for pretty much most agencies and insurance companies. Those two are pretty connected. And I'm very excited. Next week, I'll be launching a progress note course. So I'll talk more about those at the end if you are interested in going a little deeper on these topics. Play therapy themes. What are play therapy themes? So if you think about play as the way that children communicate in their play therapy sessions, then what we're learning how to do is understand what they're communicating using their play. And it's a lot like I use the analogy that learning how to understand what your clients are communicating in their play therapy sessions is a lot like learning a foreign language. For example, let's say, if you're in the Ukraine and you only speak that language and you want to communicate with me, I don't speak that language. In order for me to understand what you're communicating to me, understanding the nuances of that language, then I need to learn how to speak that language. So if we think about play therapy that way, we are understanding that play is the language of children, and we need to learn how to speak their language. To understand it, then that's where recognizing the meaning of the themes, what it is that they're communicating. Themes are essentially the kind of the social, emotional, psychological things that children are working through, and we're kind of making sense of that. And one of the things that I love about what Jody Mullen talks about regarding themes is that she used that analogy, which I thought was brilliant, is it's like the main theme in a story. So if you're reading a book and you're understanding the main theme of the story, and I like to even go deeper on that concept. So like if the book is written in Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish, I'm not really going to understand the themes of the book because I don't speak that language. So this is where case conceptualization comes in. So what is case conceptualization? Case conceptualization is a really fancy term that means that you are able to hone in on what exactly is going on with your client. So the most effective way, the best practice way of doing this is in the very beginning, before you even start your play therapy session, you're meeting with parents. Children may or may not be there depending on their age. Really, I don't include them if they're young. It's a long time to wait. We're talking about things that we may not want to be talking about in front of the child. So depending on the age, the child may or may not be there. And we definitely want their parents or their guardians. We're gathering all the information. We're gathering all the information about what is going on, frequency, intensity, and duration of symptoms, what activates those. So all the things, so that we can figure out what is going on, what's activating this behavior. And then we're also figuring out why this behavior is happening. So any patterns, this is where we want to gather information about what's going on in their environment, family history, how they're doing in school, all of these things. So we take all of that information, and this is what I talk about in my course. This is where I do a deep dive in the case conceptualization course, which is how do you take that information and then we walk step by step through how do you make sense of that. And your play therapy theoretical model is going to influence how you make sense of what's going on with your client. So I use child-centered play therapy for young kids, and I'm going to make sense of it through a child-centered play therapy lens. I also love attachment theory and neuroscience. I look at things within a family systems lens. That's my default training. So I'm going to use those theory models to understand what's going on with my client, as opposed to somebody who maybe is Adlerian play therapy. They're gonna look at what's creating and sustaining that problem slightly different than a child-centered play therapy model. So your play therapy model influences how you make sense of what's going on with your client and why. So it's a really important part of the process. And of course, we never, from that psychosocial assessment, we never fully understand, aha, this is everything. I usually take that first 90 days to get a really good sense of what's going on with my client. I will use that case conceptualization, which, by the way, is also going to be a factor in your treatment plan, which is then going to connect with your progress notes. So themes and case conceptualization, these all help with your documentation too. So FYI, a little bonus there. All right, so how do we tie these together? So here's the thing. Your case conceptualization helps you understand how are you explaining and understanding what's going on and why is it happening. This means that you're going to be looking at, so from session to session to session to session, you're looking at themes in your client's sessions. You're also looking at themes over time. So here's the thing. There are fundamental themes that are like you just see them. They are across all theoretical models. How you make sense of them in the larger part of what your client is working through and how you're going to address it, because we're using those themes to inform where your client is in the treatment process, what they're working through, which kind of you can see where that ties in with your progress notes. And And you're using that information to guide your decision making through the treatment process. So how you make sense of that, how you make sense of the themes is going to be influenced by your play therapy model, and your case conceptualization is going to help you understand what's going on in your sessions, make sense of these themes, where they are in the healing process, what it is that they're working on, what do you need to do to address that, depending on your play therapy theoretical model. For example, like child-centered play therapy, in the sessions, that's not going to make any changes necessarily what they're doing in session. It may likely influence the way you track and the how you show up in terms of how you're tracking. It might influence that. It's not going to influence, like you're not going to be choosing interventions. You're not going to be directing any of that play. It won't influence it that way. It will influence, like, most likely how you're tracking. It will also influence your parent consultation sessions. Like, how are you helping parents to make shifts in the child's environment to support the healthy growth and development that parents are hoping their child will achieve by bringing them to play therapy. If you are a Gestalt play therapist or Adlerian or CBT play therapist, your conceptualization of the themes and where they are in the treatment process will likely influence what types of interventions you're going to be using in the play therapy process. So we use the themes to help us understand what's going on and where clients are in the change process. Those are going to be influenced by how we make sense of what's going on. And that's going to be influenced by your play therapy theoretical model. So they all kind of tie together. And so in my mind, because oftentimes recognizing play therapy themes can be overwhelming and challenging, if we keep in mind the case conceptualization part, like if you've done your case conceptualization at the very beginning, if you've started that process at the very beginning, then it's going to create that structure and framework throughout the treatment process that's going to help you not get lost as much as you might if you weren't doing that case conceptualization. Because one of the things that I notice happens quite frequently is that big, and for good intention, I understand the intention. So I definitely want to validate the intention, is they want to get started helping their clients right away. Or maybe you want, you're still struggling with imposter syndrome and you want to make sure parents see that you're providing value to their child and that you know what you're doing. Like all of these things are valuable. That here's where it goes a little wrong, the way I see it, which is if we take that time at the beginning and do that case conceptualization, that's going to set us up for success, knowing what to put in our treatment plan. It's also going to help us know what we're writing in our progress notes from a documentation standpoint. That's very helpful. From a clinical decision-making process, it's also going to provide some structure for you to understand what's going on in your client's session. Then you're going to feel a lot more confident when you're talking with parents and helping them understand what's going on with their clients while maintaining privacy and helping them know what they can do to facilitate the shifts in the child's environment, school, home, social life, those kinds of things as needed. When you do that, it provides that structure to even help you make sense of play therapy themes, because you can always go back to your case conceptualization of, oh yeah, what's going on? So let's say one of those general themes you regularly see across theoretical models are nurturing needs. That one you're going to see all play therapy models. Power and control, you're going to see those all play therapy model. So let's say you are using, let's say you're using Gestalt play therapy, and you're picking up in the themes, you're picking up in the session themes of nurturing needs, and maybe a little power and control in there as well, because you can have more than one theme in the session. That happens a lot. So you're going to make sense of, you're recognizing nurturing needs, maybe some power and control needs. This is where you're going to be going back to your theoretical model and making sense of, okay, within the context of this theoretical model, it likely means this, or trying to feel connect. I'm just going to make things up. The child is trying to work through attachment, their contact and connection with parents, and get some of those needs met, because maybe the family has gone through a divorce and the child, and they're in the early stages, and the child is having to struggle with having different homes where they don't have as much contact as they used to, maybe, and they're feeling a little disconnected from parents. So I'm going to be looking at that from a Gestalt lens. I'm going to make sense of those themes from a Gestalt lens, which goes back to my case conceptualization of, this child is experiencing divorce. It's in the early stages. They're feeling disconnected from both their parents because they're not seeing one parent as much as the other parent, and that's got them feeling a little attachment insecure. And so you can see how these all tie together. But if you have your case conceptualization, what it does is it helps you when you're a little lost in your play therapy process, which is usually around the middle phase, the middle stage of treatment. It'll help you kind of get back into alignment and better understand what's going on. So that is it for today. Let me do a quick recap of today. Basically, themes in your client's play are their way of communicating to you what's going on, what psychological, social, emotional issues that they're working through. And your case conceptualization is helping you to understand what exactly is underlying, what's the roots of your client's problem, the roots of why they're coming in. Because if you can identify the roots of the problem, not just the superficial, what's going on the surface, you understand what's activating and what's causing this problem that they're experiencing, because that's where the healing takes place. So your case conceptualization helps you figure that out. And it's going to be influenced by your play therapy theoretical model. So when you are able to have that grounding with your case conceptualization that's grounded in your theoretical model, when you are making sense of the play therapy themes, and you're picking up what's going on, you're recognizing the themes, then that's going to be influenced by your play therapy model and how you're understanding that, which takes you back to your case conceptualization. And you're learning how to use this new language of play therapy. You're fluent speaking and understanding, and I would say documenting would be you're fluent in writing play therapy. Then you can make sense of much more. You can make much more sense of what is going on in the play therapy session, where they are in the change process. It's going to inform your clinical decision making based on your theoretical model, what you need to do in that process to help your client get through all the stages of treatment. And hopefully, the goal is always hopefully to help them successfully finish and complete the change process. So that is it for today. If you're interested in some of my courses, I have several courses in my Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Excellence series. You can pop over to my website. My website is rhplaytherapytraining.com. If you click on the courses page, this is where you're going to be seeing all of the courses that I have available now. So right now I have Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Foundations, which helps you really understand play therapy. I also have Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Case Conceptualization, and that's the one that's really going to walk you through the process of developing case conceptualization. I walk you through 4 different play therapy theoretical models to help you kind of hone your skill, pulling it all together. And then also Getting Grounded in Play Therapy Treatment Planning. That one's going to help you take what you have done for your case conceptualization and create that treatment plan. One of the things I regularly hear from people in the play therapy world, honestly, in the mental health world as well, just in general, is how do you write a treatment plan that's effective, that's not going to be just a waste of time and just to meet the documentation gods, and I'm not going to use it anyway. Honestly, if you create a treatment plan, that's a really good document to help you get everything aligned and kind of track progress. And it's definitely going to help you with your progress notes. That's for sure. If you can align case conceptualization, treatment planning, and your progress notes. So in the treatment planning course, I walk you through step by step how to create a treatment plan that will be useful and not feel like it's a waste of time, how you can write one that's going to align with your play therapy theoretical model and also meet the requirements for best practice that's going to help you out with agency and insurance companies, if those are things you have to consider. And then next week, stay tuned because I do have my next course is going to be coming out. It's going to be Getting Grounded in Play Therapy progress notes. So really how to write a progress note that makes sense, that effectively translates your play therapy sessions into a professional sounding document where it doesn't look like you just played games the whole time or you just let the child play and do their own thing, that will effectively align with your play therapy model, which gives it some roots in theory and grounding that it actually does have theoretical therapeutic purpose and value. That's one I hear a lot. And also that meets best practices that for most insurance companies and agencies. And so part of that is, recognizing themes, and then how do you translate that into your progress notes? How do you tie those back into your treatment plan so that you can align everything and you won't you say documentation and getting audits, and we all go into a panic mode like, these 3 courses, if you get them together, you don't have to, you can buy them separately, but they are going to get you set up for success in that route. Like, I hate documentation as much as the next play therapist. It is not what I love doing. What I love doing is working with clients and seeing the change and feeling like I make a difference in their life. What comes along with the job is documentation, and it does have a very important role. And I recognize that. Even though I don't like it, I recognize it, and it's important. So if it's important, I want to do a good job. That's just kind of how I am. And so over the last 30 plus years, I've kind of honed my skill doing that, including play therapy. And to be honest, with my special education background, that was my bachelor's degree in college. I had a whole semester on writing treatment goals. Essentially, we had to write you have to write IEPs, which is essentially IEP means individual education program. So an IEP is essentially a treatment plan for special ed. So I had a whole course on that. So anyway, I feel like that has benefited me a lot with treatment plan writing. So anyway, that is it for today. I will, if you, I can see that my virtual assistant, Dom, has loaded all the links. So if you're interested in any of these courses, if you want to find out about some of my courses and other things, head over to my website at RH Play Therapy Training. And I will see you next week. Bye for now.